Highlight set.
Hello, my name is Spring Friedlander, Spring Ruth Friedlander, and I am 73 years old, and I'm here at Enchanted Hills Camp for the Blind, run by the Lighthouse. And I have been participating in OLOC for a bunch of years, and prior to that I participated in lead-ups to OLOC in the 70s, slightly older lesbians. I was on the planning committee for the 2014 National Convention of OLOC that was held in Oakland, which is where I've always lived as an adult. You want more?
Tell us a little bit about why you come.
I come because I experienced this as a peer group. I also experienced it as one of the few groups that keep on adding new people and sustaining a fairly consistent number of members, which is almost impossible to do these days with all the other commitments that people have as priorities, from personal to social to political. It's a nice combination of social and political for me, which I like, and have consistently made those choices organizationally in my adult life.
What are some of the most important moments as an older lesbian that you think the community needs to know? And if you can say that sentence in the beginning.
So, important incidents that I experienced as a queer person is many, all the way from my coming out moment, which I don't think will be here, but hopefully we'll get interviewed another time, to my being involved in the leadership of the organization for about 3/4 of a year leading up to the convention, to my having gone to COCO meetings as a open bi person in the years leading up to that. So I was familiar with COCO, saying, look, I really would like this organization to claim its queer qualities as well as its lesbian qualities. Got a slow amount of support for that over the years, both before and after that. The statistics are that I'm one of the 2 that aren't lesbians within this group, the other one being a trans person, and I happen to have been very concerned about the continuation of this organization during that transition, and was very helpful to both Joan Emerson, who had been our leader for 19 years, 17 by the time the process started, and also what happened during the convention, and then my letting go of it at that point afterwards, I think also contributed to the organization being viable, because I and some of the other people were having a different approach. And so by my pulling back at that time, I feel now there's plenty of space for me to step forward. But if I continued within the organization right after that, I felt it was the opposite. So I have a sense of organizational politics, and I try to play my part and contribute what's appropriate for me to do as an individual.
Tell us more about that passion, about you're playing a part in OLOC's, how some of the things have changed. That's something, the history people don't know.
Well, the nature of any coalition building is that we need our base groups. And OLOC has been a base group for me. And then the issue becomes that within the organization we have our struggles, and it's important to keep those struggles within the local chapter. And it turns out that it got so bad politically within OLOC that the last national convention, which was going to be this past year, had to get canceled totally over exactly the same issues that we'd had locally, which was the trans issue. And now they're going to do one that's only run by OLOC as opposed to a coalition in Tampa, which I'm not going, have no intention of going to, because it's very clear to me that performing my role as a, not just as a bi person, but as a tradesperson, a construction tradesperson, I can only hold so much of that energy and feel that I'm at least neutral in terms of energy as opposed to getting drained from it. And that's a role that I consciously take on, but I can't do it everywhere.
Do you think that has a lot of the energy of why, if you can tell about the connection between that whole energy of why trans was even an issue for the Mitch Fest? Do you feel that some of the same struggle within a lot of groups? If you can repeat that in the answer.
It's very important for all open groups to be truly open, including to the whole range of however people end up identifying themselves and behaving. We're all getting educated. And one of the things I used to say for years was it's so nice to have the trans people come along because at least the pressure's off the bi people and the poly people. I've been consciously poly all these years to boot. But that takes a level of processing within organizations that's very demanding. And Michigan Women's Music Festival, at some level, didn't have quite what it took, and I don't know the internal politics of that at all, but I do know that Mama Bears did very well for years. I do know that when Mama Bears got that court case, when they used to be on Broadway, that the wrong decision was made in the sense that there's only a limited number of people within any organization that are willing to step up to leadership. And just because something provides a marvelous, unique, mind-changing, world-changing service does not mean it's going to continue unless you make it possible for the people who are in leadership to get enough support for whatever struggles they have to go through internally so that they feel energized in the end. And the payoff is the actual event.